Good evening. There's been a potentially significant shift in the dynamics of the upcoming election, caused by the Brexit Party's decision not to contest those seats won by the Conservatives last time. The Brexit Party leader, Nigel Farage, who once promised to stand in the vast majority of seats across the UK, said he'd made the decision because of what he called Boris Johnson's shift of position on Brexit. Mr Farage said his party would focus its efforts on trying to take seats held by Labour, the party he accuses of betraying voters who backed Leave. Mr Johnson has welcomed the offer, but Labour said it amounted to a kind of Trump alliance between Mr Johnson and Mr Farage. Our political editor Laura Kuensberg has more details. There are some flashing images coming up.
A moment in front of the cameras, not something Nigel Farage ever wants to miss.
I think this has been quite a long anticipated speech from what I can gather.
Today, though, he publicly gave up some of his ambition rather than turning up the swagger.
The Brexit Party will not contest the 317 seats the Conservatives won at the last election. But what we will do is concentrate our total effort into all of the seats that are held by the Labour Party.
So the Brexit Party will now only stand in about half the seats around the country. Even though last week this meeting was rammed with hundreds and hundreds of candidates. Mr Farage then swore he'd take on all comers.
We will run 600 candidates who will offer the electorate the choice to vote for a clean break Brexit.
That bravado, though, rather disappeared. And Nigel Farage's troops, who had hopes of making it to Westminster, mainly had no idea.
I am, of course, very disappointed to be stood down. I was literally having my nomination papers checked just 5 minutes before Nigel Farage held his press conference, so I had no idea really what was going on.
Boris Johnson repeatedly turned down Nigel Farage as a companion on the trail. The Brexit Party ignoring Tory seats makes it easier for the Prime Minister to keep the Leave vote together.
I'm glad that there is a recognition that there's only one way to get Brexit done, and that is to vote for us and to vote for the Conservatives.
In theory, this makes it easier for the Tories to send the same MPs back here to Westminster. One cabinet minister said Nigel Farage's decision is a step in the right direction. But for Boris Johnson to win a victory, he has to take seats currently held by Labour. And the Brexit Party could well still gobble up those votes elsewhere.
The Brexit Party will stand in seats that Jeremy Corbyn's defending and could stop the Tories there in their tracks.
The issue is, isn't it, if you vote Farage, do you get Johnson? If you vote for Johnson, do you get Farage? I don't think that the electorate like these sort of backroom deals.
We're absolutely clear we want to stop Brexit, and it's absolutely clear from what even Nigel Farage is saying that we are the ones who can take seats from the Conservatives at this general election and stop Brexit.
And in an election, anything is ammunition.
I think today's announcement really proves beyond any doubt that Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage are joined at the hip. Any form of Brexit that is acceptable to Nigel Farage is going to be deeply damaging to Scotland.
Tonight, the Brexit Party leader was still on the trail, with less to look cheerful about now. But over the years, Nigel Farage has packed out marquees and halls, piling up problems for the Conservatives. And he's not done yet.
Well, let's go live to Westminster, and Laura's there. Laura, just to pick you up on quite a few of the points you made there about the potential impact of this decision by Nigel Farage, because it's not easy, is it, to see a clear pattern coming out of this?
No, it's never easy in this election, Hugh, and it won't be for the next 6 weeks or so, because we are looking across the country at a really complicated picture after a time when politics has been really topsy-turvy, with Brexit dividing people, cross-party, old allegiances not reliable in a way. First of all, though, this does clearly give Boris Johnson an easier time in some of the seats that the Tories need to hold. There's no question about that. But second of all, if he wants to get the majority that he craves, The Tories have to be taking seats from the other parties, and particularly in this context, from Brexit voters who normally vote Labour. Now, if in a really tightly fought seat, somewhere where it's really close between the Labour and the Conservative Party, if those natural Labour voters who were Brexiteers decide to go for the Brexit Party, and we were to see that pattern happen on many occasions, well, the Tory party, they would then be very likely to come up short in their competition to get the majority that they crave. But the third thing to say about all of this, though, it's not so long ago that in the European elections in the spring, that Nigel Farage's Brexit Party looked like they had the chance of sweeping through the political establishment. That was his dream. And today he has been shown to have fallen well short of that. Of course, his party is still likely to have an impact on this election. But in the words of one insider here in Westminster tonight, it's like the finish line has been moved a little bit, but it's basically still the same race.